Paul, how you doing?
I just finished Bioshock and holy fuck.
Oh, I was hoping you'd just say hi, and then I'd be like, "Hey, welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast." It would just be like a really flat, cheery opening.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, it's April 22nd, 2013. You just beat Bioshock Infinite," and then we'd have that conversation.
I don't know how cheery of a mood I'm in right now. I'm just kind of thinking some stuff through.
Okay.
I mean, we should start off by saying there will be spoilers.
Yeah, there's going to be spoilers. I was thinking if Paul's up for it, maybe we'll edit in a timestamp in here to when we stop talking about it.
No, there will for sure be a timestamp, so look at the show notes for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I've been trying to avoid podcasts that talk about it, and it's been about a month now.
I haven't heard a thing about this game at all.
Yeah, it wasn't spoiled for me.
The only opinions I've heard is that, oh my god, and that's it, like from Twitter and stuff. So.
Oh my god, like, oh my god.
I can't tell. Text.
Like good or bad? Oh
text,
yeah, I guess
yeah. So, I mean, if it's from you, probably bad, but if it's from...
I've heard both. Idle Thumbs was pissed. They didn't like it at all.
Okay.
But I don't know. I already talked about it on Top Down Perspectives. I just went live. I think overall I liked it just as an adventure game, like just an action thing.
Sure. Okay.
But like, yeah, nothing in the ending made me just like super upset or anything. I was just like, okay, like sure, why not?
See, my problem is like I'm trying to think through the ending right now.
Yeah, it just happened for you.
And I know that if I keep thinking too much, it's going to unravel and not work somehow. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if I should stop that right now.
Well, I don't know. It's more just my issue with any of it is just because of how it like talks about multiple realities and all this stuff. At some point I was just like, okay, literally anything could happen.
Right, it's kind of cheating the system in that way.
Yeah, because it's kind of within its reality, it's kind of created this like infinitely digressive thing where it's just like, well, you could just Deus Machina yourself out of anything by just jumping into a different reality, and something else will be going on.
Well, and it kind of gave them the opening where like we could end this however we wanted,
literally however they wanted. So as I was playing it, I kind of was like, well, I'm having a good enough time, and I want to see how this all goes. But like, Booker could be the Songbird, Booker could totally be Comstock, Booker could be a figment of someone's imagination, like he might not exist, Elizabeth could be someone's mother, I don't care.
And see, in the end, that's all true.
Yeah, sure, why not? All those possibilities could be going on in one of those lighthouses, Dan.
No, see, that's the thing, is that the way they did it, those are all going on. Every single thing you mentioned is a thing that is happening.
Right.
Which is weird.
Yeah, which is kind of the greatest get out of jail thing with their story. Like, they just wrote themselves this device that lets you do whatever you want, but at the same time, it's super lame. Like, it's just like, well, what does this story have to say, really? Like, it's just, it works, I guess, but only in the doofiest, campy sci-fi way. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It ended, and I kind of went like, well, I was like, the part where suddenly Rapture, I was like, oh, dude, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, oh, man, my mind is so blown, I'm going to be writing essays and trying to figure this out.
But see, this is something that you could write an essay about. Your professor would have to have played it and had opinions on it, I'm sure.
I guess, but at the same time, like, my kind of approach to it is like, well, it's a video game first, and it is still like, hey, we want to have a sequence where there's a lot of shooting in it. Let's make the writing support that, as opposed to the other way around.
Okay.
Where it's like, we have this great story about this kind of violent character, and we want to really explore what it'd be like to go through these dimensions and all this stuff. It's like, no. They were like, all right, we're making an action game because we want to sell copies and get funding. Let's figure out a way to do that with like some measure of thought put into why anything is happening in it. So it's just like, hey, there's this one crazy general who wants his troops to die honorably, so he's going to send hundreds of cronies at you for you to kill.
I kind of liked that part.
But it's still like an excuse for a video game to happen.
Well, it's still an excuse for hordes of dudes coming out of nowhere with guns.
Yeah, and on one level I still like, well, I appreciate that you came up with an excuse. It's not just dumb nonsense, but it's still kind of dumb. But it's not. But I did like that level, if we're going to talk about that.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, that's what I meant, kind of.
That's where some of the, like, just the merits of how good the game looked and stuff kind of elevated it from being, like, kind of annoying to me. Like, I was just like, there was a point in that museum area where they're kind of explaining, like, Elizabeth's tower ordeal.
Yeah.
Like, you walk in this room, and then there's just kind of, like, her mother with the child, and there's this tower and, like, these clouds and everything. And I just stopped and looked at that. I was like, damn, man, that is some amazing 3D art right there.
Sure.
That is some sculpture type layout. Like, this looks awesome, and the lighting and everything. I just kind of marveled at it. So, like, some of their designers and, like, environment people did amazing stuff, and that's still in there. But, like, it's really an amusement park a lot of the time. Like, it's just like, keep running,
Right.
go down the rails, shoot the stuff. Keep going. And how many of the voxophones did you get?
I got about 46 or something like that, high 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like mid 50s, but not many more.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good way to tell a story.
It's not, because a lot of the good stuff was off the beaten path.
Yeah, and like also it's just like people have raised this as well. Like Elizabeth talks over them a lot.
Oh,
which
fuck. Or even worse is like she'll talk over it, or like a PA cutscene thing that like you need to hear this will happen as you're walking around listening to it.
Right. So
or
like,
you'll go to a vending machine.
Like I just pressed play on this thing. I was trying to listen to it, and it's just like, no, dude. Like it's like. On the one hand, there's a easy button to just replay it. Like it's not like you can't listen to that content still, but I don't know. It wasn't rigidly like paced, so there's like little breaks so you can listen to voxophones as you find them. It was more just kind of like no, stuff continues to happen around you.
There were instances where after I would pick one up, I would literally wait until people were done talking, stand there for a minute to make sure, and then listen to it. And just stand there and listen.
I know, it's a little awkward, and then you're just kind of like... And, like, also just the conceit, like, it was ridiculous in Singularity, and it's, like, any game that does this, it's just like, alright, like, there's a giant machine that someone recorded, like, not only some thoughts, but, like, really important, poignant thoughts that have to do with something.
Right.
Like, it's just like, I can't believe that 80 times, or whatever it is. I think there's 80 in the game. I think
there's 80 total. Yes.
Yeah, like it's just like it gets pretty ridiculous pretty quickly, and it's just like okay, well, whatever. I'm sure in a lot of ways, like it's kind of really imaginative Call of Duty.
Yes, 100%, because you are shooting cops.
You were shooting a bunch of dudes at like a lot of the time, and I did not enjoy shooting those dudes.
Okay, because I did.
Okay.
Like there was probably, I'm just trying to think of where I was starting to get annoyed with it.
To clarify, there's some exceptions. Every handyman fight I didn't like.
Every handyman fight I was okay with because it felt okay. So what was your loadout? Like what was your main strategy to get through a bunch of dudes?
Well, first of all, they kind of treat you really like kind of a baby just with the game. Like. Mm-hmm. I fell off a bunch of times. It's just like, hey, don't worry about it, man. You're back. Don't even.
And you don't lose life or anything.
You don't lose life or anything. It's just like not even a half second. You fell off that Zeppelin because you totally fucked up. You're back right in the action. You're just like, well, okay. And then when you die, Elizabeth revives you. You lose some money and stuff. And you're just like, well, the first game had Vita chambers. I don't like having to load a save file or anything. Right. I'm generally okay with this system, but whatever. So I wasn't taking fights that seriously, but every now and then I'd kind of get really into like a firefight that was happening. And I was mainly like a sniper rifle or that hand cannon pistol. Yeah, I love that thing. Mm-hmm. I thought that thing was great. And the way they do the ammo system with Elizabeth just constantly feeding you ammo.
And
like
health.
It's just like, sweet, I can keep these guns that I like. So great. Like I don't need to experiment with the rest of the arsenal. I did for like some achievement stuff, even though it's Steam achievements, but I still just got pulled down that for some reason. Old habits, I guess.
Yep.
Like it's just like, hey, sure, I'll try out this repeater for a bit. This is okay. I got my 50 kills or whatever it was. I'm gonna go back to my pistol and sniper rifle combo.
Yeah.
And kind of kept doing that. Vigors, I did not use much at all. I used possession. Like that's it. That was the only one I used past like an hour or two.
Okay.
I was just like, I just want this thing to distract a bunch of dudes with some other guy, and that'll help me manage these crowds. Apparently, like Sean was telling me, you can combine their effects. Never did that ever.
No, I'm going to tell you how you do easy mode in this game.
Oh, you did easy mode. I was on normal. But,
no,
okay.
I'm going to tell you how you do it.
Okay.
Okay. So you get those like things that upgrade either your shield, your vigor, or your health.
The tonics or whatever
the
they
tonics,
are.
Yeah. You upgrade your shield.
Yeah.
A whole bunch so that it's longer and, you know, you don't take damage when you have your shield and it recharges.
Yeah.
Then you upgrade your ram vigor and you get the fully upgraded shotgun. Now what happens is you use the ram vigor, and when it's upgraded, it will refill your shield instantly when you hit an enemy.
Okay.
And then when you are up there, because enemies like to come out of places like a lot at a time, you use your shotgun to take out the rest, but to add more insult to injury, you put on the piece of gear that all your melee attacks use the flame thing, the Devil's Kiss.
Yeah.
And then you upgrade that so that there's an area of effect. So basically what you're doing is when a fight starts, you are bolting across the whole level to where all the guys are and where you are obviously going to have to be.
Yeah.
Your flame thing kills that main guy, and then a bunch of the smaller guys take a lot of damage, and then your shield refills, and you keep doing that over and over because Elizabeth will consistently throw you bottles of salts.
Yeah.
So you are basically invincible, killing like 2 or 3 guys every time you go near them, and you are just bolting across the level without having to walk.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do that.
I guess my thing, like, it's just like apparently the combat's really easy, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Is like, I mean, that's totally valid strategy. I didn't need to put in anywhere near that much thought to get through all those fights with like no problem. So,
well, I mean, the thought is that like the shotgun's better at close range.
Yeah.
And this thing is like the drill rush from the Bioshock 2.
Yeah, okay.
So it'll get me right up to them, and then if I don't kill them right away, I'll do a lot of damage, then I'll finish them off with the shotgun. It made the handyman, basically you would charge it instead of just push it. You would do like half health damage from that, and then you would do like 2 or 3 shots to the chest.
For a handyman?
Yeah, like everything was completely trivial.
Yeah. Okay. I did, like, again, like, I didn't need, like, really think about it that much. It was just kind of go for it, just whatever.
Well, and the thing is, like, with the hand cannon, like you said, you used, one-shot kills for most of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For regular dudes, and then, like, for the, the mechanized patriots or whatever, it was just possess it. It's not going to hurt you for a while. Shoot it, like, 4 times. Possess it. Shoot it 4 times. Possess it. It's dead.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
or you could
like,
use the shock to stun it as well if you wanted to. Like,
yeah, I leveled
hard.
up shock a little bit, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of variability, I guess, in the combat. It like just basically so anyone could do whatever they want and it would be viable. Seems to be the thing. Like they really paint a wide path for you to just be like, you know what, just whatever. As long as you're down with some fighting, like we have you covered in whatever it is you want to do.
That's what made Bioshock 2 pretty cool too, though. Where you would like set a barrel of flame and then pick it up and throw it at a guys. Just weird, like.
I felt Bioshock 2 had way more kind of like you needed to actually think about the combat a little more in that. Like specifically the big sister fights. Every time you're kind of like setting traps and like in Bioshock Infinite, they're constantly reminding you, "Hey, this could be a trap," and you're just like, "Why would I ever do that ever?"
Right.
In Bioshock 2, it's like, "Oh,
you needed them." Yeah.
I was setting, like, I'm meticulously planning my little crime scene, essentially, before it went down, and then telling little sister to do the thing, and then battle happened. And it was well thought out. Like, Bioshock 2 kind of had those planned little things, and I was using all my arsenal all the time, because I was running out of ammo.
Right.
Like, the scavenging in that game made sense, too. And this one just felt like, hey, like, I was scavenging by habit. Like, I was just pressing X on everything and just, like, taking
as you're running by, yeah.
Yeah, like, I just killed 4 dudes, and there's still 5 more dudes, but I'm like, hold on, guys, I gotta loot these corpses and get some ice cream or something. And then I was just, like, digging through their pockets.
I gotta get this guy's apple.
Yeah, there's a pineapple. This guy brought a pineapple to battle.
Yeah, this guy has a pineapple in his pocket, so I'm gonna probably eat that.
And, like, and it's just like, Nathan, you're at full health. And it's like, I don't care, I need to make sure I've looted all these dudes.
Right.
Because I don't know, video games or something. Like I have to hit that tab on the wall. I gotta hit that thing to get that pellet. It was just like weird habitual behavior all the time. Which I mean, that's totally the thing they were playing off of in the first Bioshock, right? Is like you're basically a hamster in their experiment or whatever. And
and it was harder to come across stuff.
Yeah.
Because again, in Bioshock 2, like the big sister fights were just kind of terrifying because they weren't easy.
Yeah.
But when you become like Big Daddy, normal Big Daddy or whatever, and you have your drill rush, everything else in Bioshock 2 even felt trivial to me.
Oh yeah, dudes are no problem at all. You're the scariest thing.
Right, so the first game is really where it's like, no, you need to find that ammo in that trash bin because that will probably save you in this magician splicer fight.
Yeah. I was watching, after I'd beaten it, Brittany was playing some of the first one, and it really, like, set up so differently. Like, the open areas and stuff, and backtracking, and kind of figuring out puzzles, and, like, the hacking minigame, and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of other things going on in there. This is just, like, a fast-paced roller coaster action thing, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of let you go back to some areas, but, like I said, like, even with those side quests along the way, like, I was just like, oh, fuck that. I don't care. Like, I
ran into 3 of them. I don't think I did any of them.
Yeah, like, and there's not many over the course of the whole game, so maybe at some point they realized no one was doing it in playtesting. I'm not sure, but yeah, I did not do any of those. The choices are useless, I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah.
I think the first one apparently leads to you encountering those NPCs later, and they give you some stuff or something.
Okay.
But that's it. Like, that's the only thing. It's just kind of maybe some slight universe detail stuff, but nothing important comes out of that.
Well, we're at the choices. I need to ask you for, like, when you meet up with Comstock. Did you interrupt him?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Shit.
And you did too?
Yeah, I wanted to know what the other side was.
Well, when he was, like, harassing Elizabeth?
Well, when he was like, why don't you tell her about her finger and blah, 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 and then...
Yeah, like, it was just, like, they just started, like, fighting, and I was like, well, I don't... Like, you know, it was that thing where it's like, well, Nathan wants to kind of push them apart and be like, hey, let's simmer down, talk this out. Booker wants to smash his face. So, okay. Like, I just pressed X and then had to watch Booker be an idiot. And I was like, okay.
And it really bothers me, you know, where she's like, you have to give him the baby.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to.
It's like, well, you have to because you already did it. She tells you that, too.
I don't like that, though. I really don't.
Yeah, you have, like, no real like, because all of the important stuff already happened. So you just need to, like, you know, hit your marks and say the right things because it's already gone on. Yeah. I don't know. Like, the story, people are, like, getting way into the story and just like, oh, man, what does it mean? It's so smart. Oh, it's just like, I don't know. It felt to me like any twist movie. Like, it's just like, oh, well, throughout the thing, they didn't provide me with the information I needed. And then they gave me the information. So, great. Now I know what they were onto this whole time. Okay. Like, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really say anything. It's just like, hey, there's this weird parallel dimensions concept. And within that, this kind of sad thing happened. But it's like I was just reading Alex Navarro's kind of summary of all the talk going on about it. Like, a lot of the big topics that it touches on, like racism and class discord and all that stuff, those are kind of just flavor.
Yeah, and I didn't like that.
Like, that those aren't the issues at all.
Right.
Like, hey, racism is a thing. We're not going to really get into it, though. Let's just kind of make our world a little more crazy.
That was one of the more interesting parts of that whole story.
Yeah, and, but at the same time, I'm not expecting a video game to, like, solve racism or something, you know?
No,
like,
but they could have explored, like, their plight in the Vox and stuff maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, they just kind of use it as, like, you know, you jump into an alternate universe, and there you're a hero, and they're in control, but they're awful, too. You know? It's like, basically, power corrupts no matter what. Like, if you're in charge, it'll go bad. And it's just like, okay, sure, why not? That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some brutal, violent stuff happens, like when Elizabeth stabs Daisy or whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Like, just, like, the way her shirt soaked with blood was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, that and the face shredding stuff that happens earlier, like, there's definitely a lot of crazy, gnarly violence in here. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, like, again, like, I guess Alex's thing was just like, well, I've seen a lot of horror movies, so it didn't bother me, but, I get why some people are upset.
Sure.
Like, I guess this game is kind of, like, garnering attention from people who don't usually play video games. So, like, as someone who has been playing games this whole time, it's just like, yeah, whatever, like, Quake or Unreal or something, this is, gnarly, crazy business. But, like, to someone who's like, I like movies and books and things, and I heard this was a really noteworthy example of interactive fiction.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, get ready for, like, Verhoeven or Cronenberg style business. But
I hope you like sticking a big turny spiky thing into some dude's face and turning it on, blood everywhere, because you're going to do...
Yeah, you're going to do that a bunch. Hold down the button for even grosser stuff.
Hope you've always wanted to spin a dude's head all the way around.
Yep. Like, yeah, it was, like, in the same way, like, I criticized some games for doing that, but, like, it's kind of the tone or something. Like, it's a really probably hypocritical thing, but, like, hey, man, Hotline Miami or something, like, violence can work sometimes. And I wasn't too bothered by it here.
See,
even though with, like, fairy tale meets messed up sci-fi is a weird thing to even do.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just was, like, going with it at some point. I was just like, sure, whatever. Like, I'm not going to put this next to important art like some people are in their essays and stuff. So I'm comfortable saying it is a fun kind of sci-fi thing.
Yes. Okay. And on that topic last week,
yeah,
we were talking a little bit about, like, after the first hour or two, I was just like, well, like, I don't know why he just started killing people and everything was bloody right away and, like, hyper violent and stuff. And now it's just kind of like, oh no, it makes sense because they did kind of justify that where, like, he is a killer. Like, dude was in wars.
He has war history. Like, that's kind of another thing I mean with, like, the video game is kind of at peace with, like, it's like resolved to the fact that it is a violent video game before they write their story, essentially. So then they're just like, all right, well, for this to make sense, we need our hero to be good at killing people. So he was a war hero or something. Like, or like Master Chief is a seasoned super soldier. So it makes sense that he's your protagonist, Like, this was kind of stuff that followed out of the Far Cry 3 discussions where it's like Jason Brody is just some normal guy, but for some reason he's a super killing machine.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I start going like, what? This doesn't make sense. Whereas here it's like, no, like they wrote a reason why he's good at this. He's a guy who's killed lots of people before. And okay. Like,
in the case of Jason Brody, all they had to do was make his brother the one who was the main character. That was like just on vacation from the army. Right. And then his kid brother, who was an innocent dude, totally got killed, dude. And you know what? It makes a little bit more sense that way. Yeah. Okay, so we already rewrote Far Cry 3.
The thing is, though, is apparently they wanted there to be like a slide into depravity or something where dude is okay with killing people.
You can still do that with army people, though, because army people aren't inherently crazy.
Like, Spec Ops tries to do that, Like,
I'm going to say they do that.
They do that, but again, not in a way that, like, maybe rethink art or something. Like, I don't know. I keep saying that in a way that's, like, obviously has to be hyperbolic because I don't think the people making them think it's that important.
I was going to say, I don't think Ken Levine's always been like, no, we are making, like, the most important video game ever. He's just kind of like, no, whatever, it's Bioshock.
I know, yeah. Like, it's like the sort of people that come out to give this thing 10s out of 10s and just start writing giant essays on it, comparing it to Charlie Kaufman or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not in the same, like, I just don't understand that mentality. Like, it's like, I don't know how you can play all of this and rationalize away how much of it is dopey action sci-fi. Some people are upset that stuff's in there. Like, oh man, I wish this wasn't even a shooter. Like, they should just make an environmental, like, exploration thing. And you're just
I kind of agree with that too, but not with this game because this game was meant to be that roller coaster amusement park ride.
Well, from pretty early on, obviously, yeah. Like, there's tons of stuff thrown in there, like, or like, stuff written to be like, hey, you're like, okay. I will say my favorite part was probably when I was leading that revolution part. Like, there's just red banners everywhere, and you're just shooting stuff, and people are like, yeah, Booker DeWitt, he's a hero.
That part was okay. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it.
It just felt like you were part of some big societal shift or something, and it's like, well, this is a reason people would actually be fighting in the streets. and it kind of makes sense, you know. And I don't know, like it felt like like of the excuses they have for there to be tons of violence, that one was my favorite.
Right, like this scene works. This is the uprising that's happened before in history. Like this is a thing.
Yeah, like the insane general who wants his troops to die. Like that was a little like I was a little more like weirded out by that. It kind of reminded me of some Dead Rising stuff. Remember that dude in the store?
Yeah, or just some like weird PTSD war hero movie.
Yeah,
or something like I don't know, just some weird villain that's like Gray Fox, like make me feel pain again.
Yeah, like just kind of like, and there was even like an enemy type that was basically the Fury.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah, like, and they were so easy to take out by the end. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but like dude's just like on fire and screaming, and it's just like what? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's some kind of corny business throughout, but again, like I guess it kind of comes at like what angle you're approaching this. Like people were kind of coming at it like really fired up by Bioshock 1. Like I liked Bioshock 1, but I didn't leave that game putting it on a pedestal either. So like there wasn't much room for disappointment. I was just kind of like, well, that's like a 9 and this is like an 8 or something, maybe. Like those are just numbers I'm throwing out. Like I don't know if that's exactly
where you would rate it.
But you know, like still up like above a 6. Like they're
for sure
quality going on, but it's still not like my top, like what I'd look to as like this is what I want in a video game. Like it's like no, this is, you know, for a shooter, this one does it well. You know, and that's the thing. A lot of people are kind of dismissing the shooting gameplay. I don't know. I thought it was fun, like or like well considered. Like
I got super bored with it, but now I'm wondering if maybe if I had tried different things out, it might have been funner, like a weird puzzle game. Like how could I go through this group of dudes and these 2 patriots and this handyman with using all different stuff, not the same weapon twice.
I guess that's kind of what Gears of War Judgment does, is like forces you to well, it doesn't force you, but it gives you some incentive to try different stuff. Whereas this is just kind of like, yeah, if you've got a tactic, it'll totally work.
Right, so like, I'm going to charge and shoot this guy with the shotgun, and then a handyman's going to come around, and I'm just going to do that 2 more times, and then I'm done. So I don't have to change my style.
Like, I guess for a while there, I was using the carbine and the shotgun. You know, like, I was kind of changing out my 2 weapons for a while, but then eventually I settled into my groove for probably the last, like, 4 hours of, like, more or less the same thing.
The pistol was always in my arsenal.
The regular pistol?
Yep. It was my favorite, one of my favorite weapons.
I didn't mind it, but eventually it was just like, man, this is taking too many shots. I want to put these dudes down quicker. So, super pistol, but whatever. I don't know, like, did any of the specific chapters of the game, I guess, like, really jump out at you? Like, I like the Revolution segment, like Finkton's factory.
Let's talk about that area.
Okay.
Did you find it super weird that there was a point where you just literally pick up a guitar, play, and she sings while grabbing an orange and giving it to a kid?
I didn't do that.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah. I missed that was a thing. You there's a guitar button?
There's a guitar that's, like, shining, so you go up to, like, this kid runs away. You go into the bar in Shantytown, and there's a bunch of dudes in there, and I was stealing money from the machines, because it's what you do. You possess them and steal the money, then you buy stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Or the other way around, you buy stuff, then steal your money back. Either way, it doesn't matter. So I did that, but they took it as, like, an offensive thing, so they all attacked me.
Yeah.
I wiped them all out, and then in the basement, there's this one little kid that ran down the stairs and then hid under the stairwell.
Okay.
And there was a guitar. There's an acoustic guitar there, and it was shining, so I went up to it and pushed the action button, and there's a bunch of oranges there. So he picks up the guitar, he sits down, puts the guitar on, starts strumming, and then Elizabeth just starts singing, grabs an orange, and then gives it to the kid. And that's it. That's the whole scene. And then you go back to slaughtering people.
That's like, it's super weird because I'm sure they ideally wouldn't have wanted you to have murdered everyone first, but because you set them off, like it definitely probably puts that scene in a weird, different tone that doesn't work at all.
Yeah, where you just slaughtered everybody and then you give an orange to a kid. I was even saying, like, what would have happened if I ate all those oranges before? Would she have grabbed something? Like,
I mean, I guess I had a similar, like, breaking the mood of the scene moment in Shantytown. Like, I was just like, oh, there's a tonic over there. Hell yeah. Go to get it. Dude's like, hey, man, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm going to get that, and you can't stop me. So I went and got it. Dudes start freaking out because I stole their shit. I kill, like, 4 homeless men, and then just continue on, and then give people food, like, for those potatoes. Like, I warp in the food.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know why the rest of these people aren't as bummed out that I just killed some of them, but whatever.
You know those people you're talking about where they're destroying that machine for money?
Yeah, they're like looting.
They're like looting it, and like I just walk up and I steal the money from between their legs.
Yeah.
And then walk away.
You didn't give them potatoes?
I give them potatoes after.
Oh, okay. Like, I felt, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to distract him with this over here. Okay, actually, that brings up a thing. Like, I get it as a visual differentiator, but the black and white tears thing kind of just seemed weird. Because it's like, well, I get it. It's supposed to be like old film or something.
Right.
But it's a real place. Like, it's just another dimension. It's not, I don't, like, it's like reinforcing that weird notion people have that, like, oh, old photos are black and white because the world was black and white, you know, or it just seemed dumb. I don't know. Like,
see, I just took it as, like, her power wasn't all there.
Okay.
So like, it was distorted and stuff because she couldn't warp in the world perfectly.
I guess it just looked like there was, like, scratches on it and everything. Like, it looked like film to me.
Right.
And it, like, that doesn't make any real sense to me. Like, this is, like, I don't know. And, like, some of the, like, I only saw, I guess in addition to the Voxophone count, I saw, like, 23 of the little video things. Little machinima, like, black and white.
I tried to get all of those.
Propaganda films. I missed some of those somehow.
I did too, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are, like, highlighting, like, the music is interesting, like, the covers of future songs and stuff like that. Voice acting, I guess, is fine, but I just didn't really get too caught up in, like, the character story. I just kind of wanted to keep going because it was paced in a way that kept me moving, you know, which is to its credit, I guess. Like, but I wasn't like, you know, when it's like, hey, you know, oh, you're her father. It's just like, okay, like that's the twist from Empire Strikes Back or something. Like, it just didn't like do anything really. I was just like, okay. That makes sense.
The kinetoscopes were kind of weird because
the what?
The kinetoscopes or whatever.
Kinetoscope.
Yeah. They were kind of weird because I felt like it should have been live action video in there, but it was totally just like animated guys. And it was worse quality than like the world. So like there was one specifically where it was showing like the slaves or the Vox or whatever, like a bunch of black dudes.
Yeah.
And they just looked like they came out of, like, Unity 3D or something. And it's just weird.
Yeah, they were kind of, like, stiffly animated. That's why I called them machinimas, because it's just like, these seem a little low quality. Like, I don't want to be a jerk, but I don't know. Like, these kind of slap together. But
yeah.
Or, you know, like, the images don't necessarily convey that much. Like, it's just like, you know, like a short film, it's got, like, 2 things of text giving a little flavor to the world. But then it'll just be like like a crappily shot, like it's that angel statue.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like a vending machine on the ground or something. And it's just like, I mean,
what a waste of time.
Yeah, these aren't well made things. Like, I just mean like not necessarily criticizing Irrational, but like the filmmaker in this world is a crappy one.
Sure. Okay.
That's an excuse I could make. But no, actually, Irrational, you screwed up.
I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, like Irrational kind of screwed up in that way because I think all they could have...
That's a boring way to convey some story stuff. I don't know.
Why didn't they just do live action? Why didn't they make it realistic?
Or just let your environment speak for yourself, because it kind of does. Like, I enjoyed looking at it. Like, I was mainly doing those just to hit the tick boxes on that achievement.
I was too.
Yeah, like, it's like, these are kind of bad, but, I mean, it's here, and maybe one of them will be really interesting. And I don't think that ever happened.
Why didn't they just do it the way they used to do it? Take a whole bunch of pictures and then like kind of flip them really fast in a GIF editor. Because that would have looked fine, I think, for what it
like
is.
Kind of have like a weird little animation thing. Like kind of how they have the like George Méliès style explanations of your Vigors animations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were a little like they're quicker and they get the job done too. So
I didn't like the style of those really. Like,
yeah.
they were trying to go almost for like a Fallout feel or something, and they just didn't reach it with their little animation dudes.
I don't know. I'm generally, maybe I really need to just get into some Deus Ex and like some maybe finish Syndicate or something. Like, just play some future stuff. Because like I'm kind of getting annoyed with like retro future, like retro sci-fi, steampunk business.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, it's crazy, wacky technology that doesn't exist, but it's 1912. And you're just like, why is it 1912? Why isn't it just 2047 or something? Or like, just do something crazy. Like, show me something where we're going. Make a Minority Report game that's good.
I haven't played a lot of those though, like what you're describing. Like, I guess Fallout 3 recently.
Yeah, it's mainly
and
the Fallout. Kind of make me just wish they would go full future Fallout. Like, no, the apocalypse happened in 2016, and current stuff exists. And you're just like, oh, cool. Like Zombie U kind of has a bit of that because it's like it seems like a zombie attack happened in 2012, so you have like GPS and all this stuff, and you're just like, yeah, why? Good. I want that. I want a cell phone. Give me a cell phone. I have a cell phone, so you're connecting it to my life. It's like this is happening to me.
Right, and this is what I would do in this situation. Yeah. I would pull out my cell phone and tweet.
Yeah, I would probably.
I probably would too, but nobody would listen because everybody would be dead.
Yeah, live tweeting the apocalypse, man. It's going to happen. We're like, kind of. Like, I mean, again, with all the weird news last week in the States, like, it was like, no, you can get an update on, like, real disasters as they go down. Like, it was just like, like Waco explosion and everything, the massive shootout over the course of a whole day.
Yeah. And
like, that was just the craziest week of news.
Well, I don't know, like, if you've gone to actual news sites and stuff recently, but they could totally just do, like, news articles where it's like, this dude said this on Twitter. What do you think? You tweet in the comments.
I know. Like, it's like, oh, wait. There's, like, almost no distinction between, like, dude doing this amateurly on Reddit and, like, people on television who are getting paid money.
No, because the people doing it on Reddit are completely unbiased and don't have somebody signing their paychecks.
Right, so he's just like, even if it's amateur, it's still just raw data. So it's just like, hey, thanks for filtering out kind of some of the nonsense and putting it up, like linking me to it.
Yeah.
Like, I have the same information the news people do before the news people are actually saying it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that can go weird because, like, I mean, there was some, like, false, like, suspects and stuff that were getting highlighted, and it's just like, whoa, it's not him. Stop harassing that dude. Like, stuff that was going on, but I don't know. I was still like felt weirdly ahead of the curve on that, and it definitely puts the news media in like a weird position where it's just like, what are you for again? Why do you exist? I don't. What do you guys do exactly? Right. Oh, well, we read Reddit too and Twitter, and then we tell you about it on TV. It's like, oh, that's all right. Like, I mean, there's still a market for that now because some people aren't on Twitter or Reddit, but at some point, once TV is no longer the thing, which might be, I don't know, when is that? Soon? Now? Or did it happen already?
No, okay. Not until our generation is the one that have kids that have had kids.
Right, okay.
Probably.
So still got a ways to go, but it just seems like a big change is coming up on the horizon where it's just like, yeah, see you later, CNN, bye. Mm-hmm. Good riddance, I guess, I don't know.
We should go back to Bioshock quickly.
Right, okay, so the news media in Colombia, not really reliable.
Propaganda.
Yeah, totally propaganda.
It's a thing that happens.
I guess it was kind of neat to see, like, the game starts with you just kind of disrupting everybody's day, and then things get worse and worse over the course of your 12-hour adventure, too. It's like,
oh, no, but depending on what reality you're in, it doesn't. It gets better.
Oh, depending on which reality, yeah. But
because that ending broke, like, if you think about Too Hard, that ending broke the, like, reason why you did anything.
Oh, totally. You did it. The game ends with you undoing everything that happened. Yeah. Like, it's like Terminator type shit, where it's just like, well, if you don't exist, none of this paradox business will happen. It's like Donnie Darko. It's actually Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
It is. Because he dies at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
Preventing the movie you just saw. So.
Worm trails, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That is basically what happens. And, I mean, I like the tears thing for, like, crazy visuals. Like, specifically, like, there's a point where Elizabeth opens one and there's just a straight-up tornado.
A twister? Yeah.
Yeah, like, it was just like, I don't know how you knew this was happening exactly here, but good for you, because you totally screwed up that entire lab. But
Well, I think at that point she was regaining like her, like, what would you even call it, visibility? Because she was able to see all like realities,
right.
sort of thing.
Yeah, and like with the experiments and stuff, they say she used to be more powerful than she was, and all this than she is now, and all this stuff. But like, it's not really a mechanical thing. That's like the thing. It's not like Portal where you have control over this thing in the universe. It's like, no, this is all highly scripted just for visual coolness, you know. So like that kind of reveal at the end as to what happened to her finger, like, just felt kind of useless because it's just like, well, I didn't know you could things with tears.
It was kind of funny.
A little bit.
Like,
it had so much gravity to it, and I was just kind of like, oh, okay.
See, I was thinking, as morbid as it would be, I think it would have meant something a little bit more if he was just like, well, I'll give you the baby, but I'm keeping a memento of her, and like cut her finger or something.
That'd be really weird. But yeah, I legitimately, like, you know, there was legitimately little bits of information that finally kind of slotted into my brain as they gave me the rest of the puzzle or whatever, and I was just kind of like, all right. Yeah. Like, again, like, I equate my reaction just kind of like a, you know, a bit of a nod and a smirk or something. Like, I was not falling over myself, blown away by any of it, which again, this is the thing though, it's happening more and more. Like, so I will hear reports that someone somewhere reacted that way, but I will never actually see that reaction firsthand. So
right.
I'm not actually sure if anyone out there is frothing and just like totally trying to write a thesis on this game or anything. I'm just told that might be happening because Twitter is reacting against those people or something. You know, like, it's not like you'll get news that people are reacting in a weird way, but you don't actually see it really happening. For example, like when this game just came out, there was like a meme on Reddit that was just like, man, I, you know, can't wait until some Skyrim fan idiots think this is a reference, and it's the Wounded Knee box, you know?
But it is a reference because all of that was happening at the same time in a different universe.
But it's a historical reference. It's not saying, it's not an arrow in the knee joke, you know?
No, but Skyrim was happening while Bioshock Infinite and Bioshock 1 were happening at the same time. Because everything's happening always.
All video games are happening. What are you saying?
All happening. That's like,
if you go in the right lighthouse, like Mario's in there.
Well, that's the thing. It's like every reality is happening at the same time over and over.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. I guess you could read into like some sort of weird, like, this is the meta game. Like, this is the meta layer to all games. You go into the correct lighthouse, Gordon Freeman's in there or something stupid. Actually, that's great. I love that. I don't know what to equate that to. Like, what is another thing? I guess it's kind of like the Cabin in the Woods thing or something, where it's like there's this super place where all movie monsters live, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Or like Men in Black when they open the locker, and there's like a bunch of universes that are.
Bioshock Infinite is one locker,
right?
But who knows? You know, Killzone is another one. You got, oh, look, Journey is in here. Check it out. Oh, it's some binary domain.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph is in one of them, but that one's extra weird because it opens it to its own.
Yeah.
Alternate ones. I think someone was talking about that. Like, if they made a video game about Wreck-It Ralph, it would be kind of the weirdest recursive loop ever, or something. Just what? Like, if they made, like, you know, because there is the game within the game is an iPhone game, but if they made like a game about Ralph and him trying to appeal to all these game characters, it would just become like the weirdest folding in on itself thing ever. Like Ouroboros or whatever, but way weirder.
It would be like that Barney video game on the Super Nintendo, where you're going around trying to find your friends for a birthday party. You would just like be Wreck-It Ralph going into different games to find people to invite them to a birthday party.
I would love that because it would exhibit all these weird different mechanics. Like, that was my favorite part of the movie, was when they would briefly showcase like dudes in a game, and it's like, okay, they had this like PTA meeting type thing in Pac-Man, so they all exist as Pac-Man sprites and leave as Pac-Man sprites. And then they exit, and now they're regular dudes, you know? Or like you enter Street Fighter, you become like that, but when you exit, you become a 3D guy. Like, they only did it once or twice in the movie, which kind of bummed me out, but that was kind of my favorite, like, oh man, the amount of visual variety you could have in a game like this, where you enter into, like, Zelda. It's kind of like Retro Game Challenge type stuff, right? where it's like there are like a dozen games within a game, and they each have their own look and feel, but there's an overarching thing connecting all of them. I don't know. There's stuff to be done with that. That's, hey. But anyway.
Let's go back to Bioshock for a second and things Irrational fucked up on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the whole, like, the environment is so real, but for some reason you can't cast a shadow.
Can't cast a shadow, there's no reflections.
Let's go back to that for a second. When you're going after Elizabeth after Songbird takes her away and you're kind of, like, stuck in this weird limbo, like, 6 years before that, or, like, that... Everything's happening 6 years after or whatever, and there's like little tears in the hospital.
I think several years after, because she's like older and really upset that you never showed up. But
right.
Yeah, like that weird jump to where you are behind, like you've been left behind from a future timeline or something.
Yeah, so you're running around and there's tears and you can hear voices and stuff.
Yeah.
You should be able to see through that little tear stuff that's happening in that reality.
Dude, yeah, I was like walking around them trying to look like, it's like, oh, is it like a looking glass into the other dimension? It's like, no, it's just kind of it's like a black and white.
Specifically where she's in the chair, like where she's being like sucked dry or interrogated, tortured.
Yeah.
And like I was looking all around that chair to see if I could see her sitting there and a bunch of doctors just like ripping her apart or something.
Right.
But no.
Thing. Yeah, or you hear a voice talking and you're just like, well, where are those, like that quote brother and sister? They're just versions of each other from other dimensions, right?
Like, I think. I don't know, because they're the ones that invented the thing that can like go between all of them and kind of fucked everything up.
Right. I think voxophones would make that explicitly clear, but I didn't find some relevant ones. But I was under the impression, and it seems to be the thing, where it's like, she is the female version of that exact same person from a different dimension, and that's why they can complete each other's thoughts and all that stuff. But then they decide to team up. I don't know. It's kind of dopey. I don't know why they can blink away. That wasn't really explained,
Because they weren't really part of that reality.
They can kind of just speak to it.
Well, they were dead, died, will die, whatever.
Yeah. They say that a lot too.
Yeah.
Did die, will die.
So, like,
walk away mystically.
I was finding it weird that specifically 2 realities, but it seemed like more, all focus around the fact that Elizabeth got stolen. But that it kind of makes sense because her finger got chopped. Yeah. She was physically, the same Elizabeth was physically in 2 different dimensions, which is why she could go back and forth. Mm-hmm. And that's weird, because it's like it's a finger. But I don't know. It's just this weird like paradox or whatever, where it's like, well, she did exist in this one, but like there's proof that she did, so therefore she's able to rip space and time apart. Like, I don't.
Well, like it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's like, because I guess really Elizabeth is Donnie Darko, right?
She is.
Like, I mean, because the timeline has been corrupted, people who are sensitive to it or something can will things to happen that ought to have happened or did happen in other dimensions. It sounds so silly saying it.
Right, but she's only sensitive to it because of the thing that happened, the fucked upness. Yeah.
It is a fun, campy kind of thing. Like, Rocco of Mega 64 compared it to Lost, and kind of,
Okay.
Like, the dopier, fun episodes of Lost that I liked, like, I can see why you'd get a similar vibe from some of the stuff in this. Like, it's just, like, people speaking cryptically and, like, weird time manipulation stuff and alternate dimensions and all sorts of fun, zany business. Like, I was totally okay with it being a corny kind of sci-fi thing. I've said that several times in this episode, but, again, I'm not angry it exists, or I'm not disappointed in relation to other stuff. Like, I guess the gameplay structure of it is a much more conventional thing than the original Bioshock was trying for, which is kind of maybe a bit regressive and kind of lame. Like, that's, I was thinking about it more last night. I kind of want to play the first ones again. Like, I was thinking of 2 a lot, really. But
I didn't like 2 very much, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess just that little taste of rapture at the end of this one. I will say that.
Yeah.
I really kind of bummed out with the way Songbird is just kind of thrown out.
Oh, Dude, why are you already ripping a scab that started healing just now?
Okay, that was kind of sucky though, right? Like,
it hurt.
Because like before he's kind of like the scary thing, and then he becomes like a really powerful ally for a bit, and you're just fucking up zeppelins, and it's kind of awesome.
Well, the thing is, he was like always her buddy.
Yeah, like, you know, she should have been more upset by that than what happened. But I guess maybe she was at peace with the fact that this is just one possible reality, and like he doesn't really exist or won't exist or whatever. But I don't know.
I don't know. And it's kind of funny how they did this too, because it's just like, so we could do anything for Bioshock now, and y'all can't complain. Because we explained why it's this way now.
Right. So the next one's actually a kart racer, but it's within continuity.
That'd be kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to play as Big Daddy.
That's the thing. PlayStation All-Stars is canon, because Big Daddy's in there.
Well, I mean, Mario's canon.
Right. Oh, you're saying all video games are canon, part of the Bioshock canon now?
No, just canon to life. Like, right now...
We're in a lighthouse somewhere.
Right now Booker is going after Elizabeth, because all realities are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
When you say it like that, it's just like, this is the worst game ever.
Yeah. It's like the same kind of stuff. I was like, wait, what's happening? Because like Source Code did that, where there's like alternate dimensions and stuff, and I was like, wait, so in like 18 dimensions, everybody died horribly, but in one of them it worked out? Great. Yeah. Like, who cares? Like, you know, the Jake Gyllenhaal we followed through, he turned out okay, but there's another Jake Gyllenhaal who's still totally mutilated in this thing, and it was like, I don't know, I left that movie just kind of like, that wasn't, like, what? That's not good. I don't feel good about anything that just happened. Like, the movie wants you to be like fist pumping and be like, yeah, he found true love, but I was like, he stole that guy's life in this dimension. He possessed his brain.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I love that there's no such thing now because of this game as a true ending.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, oh, you have to go back and play it on hard and make sure you do all of this to get the true ending. It's like, no, I got it.
Oh, you're saying like this game only has one ending? Like
no, I'm just saying, like, you know, people are always like, oh, but you didn't see the true ending where you went back and you did this choice and stuff. It's like, no, I did see it because all endings are the same. They even explicitly said that.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
I did Google immediately after, because like the first Bioshock had 3 endings?
Yes, I think so. One where you get out and you killed all the little sisters. One where they kill you, I think, like they abandon you or whatever. And another one where they're with you in the hospital at the end because you adopted them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like kind of happy, neutral, dark or something. Seemed to be how they spun it.
Yeah.
Again, I think I will play the first Bioshock again, just kind of.
I probably will too. Actually, you know what? I was going to say maybe not right away. I don't have anything I'm looking forward to, really.
Yeah, what's going on right now? It's April.
Is that weird to say? Like, can you say that too? I'm pretty sure other people have said that. There's not much.
I mean, like, you know, hey, Fez is coming out on the Steam, and like, I know you don't care about that. I didn't pre-order it, but
no, like, I don't care about that mainly because that's already out.
That's been out, yeah.
For one thing.
Yeah. I did just redeem my Starseed Pilgrim thing. I might try to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like, hey, is there a major release like you're going to get way into? No, like, I don't think so.
And it's making me sad because as much as I did enjoy Bioshock Infinite, and I did like it a lot, actually, for many reasons, like, it's sad that so early in the year, we're just like, oh, this is going to be on Game of the Years, for sure.
I'm definitely, like, like I said earlier.
I'm saying for myself, too. I'm not saying for, like, critics. I'm saying it's definitely in my top 5 so far of this year.
Of games I've played this year. Yeah, I guess so. Like you said last week, I definitely don't regret buying it. You know, like, I had an experience that was worth that amount of money, I suppose. Like, more so, I'm just glad to have caught up on this thing everyone's exploding about, but I feel good about it. Like, whatever.
I do, too.
But man, yeah, I was just, sorry, I was just looking at Steam to see, like, I mean, there is that Far Cry Blood Dragon thing that people are getting excited about.
Does that count though? That's like an expansion or something.
It is an expansion. It's kind of neat that they're letting people who haven't played Far Cry 3 play it, you know? Like, that's kind of a nice little tip in my direction anyway, because I don't want to play Far Cry 3.
Right.
I don't even know if I want to play this, to be honest, but I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
Last of Us, I think that's the next one for me.
That's in June, yeah. That's after E3.
Yeah.
So it's a couple months off. I don't know. Like thinking back to years where nothing came out until like October or like August or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's still not the worst, but it is a really weird year because it's like like emptying out the last stuff for this gen of consoles seems to be the thing. Like it's like, hey, there was a new God of War game. It's like, yeah, but it's totally superfluous and I don't want to play it. You know, like there's, you know, new Gears, but it's kind of worthless. You know, like stuff like there's stuff coming out. It's just I don't really want to play it.
What about that new Pikmin?
That's in August though.
I know.
I will play that new Pikmin. I want to better justify why I bought a Wii U. So I'll buy me some Pikmin.
Wow.
No question.
How about that Lost Planet 3 that nobody knew existed until John told me that he played it at PAX?
Great.
I didn't know that was even a thing until he's like, yeah, there was no line. It's like, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, two was not a game designed for people like me who wanted to play it single player, I guess.
Right,
but,
and 3 was not really announced.
No,
I don't know. It just kind of flew under everybody's radar.
Yeah, are they kind of like sci-fi, like a Monster Hunter? Is that kind of what they're hoping this turns into, or what?
I think so, but almost like a SOCOM meets a Monster Hunter, because there are still parts where you're just shooting dudes and weird monsters.
Okay,
that's not fun.
Yeah. I was like baffled by 2, like the stuff it was asking me to do. I was like, "Are you really? Oh my gosh! I think I need to get rid of this as soon as possible."
Yeah.
So I did, and managed to make most of my money back.
Do we have anything else to say about
Bioshock? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, like I'm going to be kind of reading into things people thought. I'm trying to think what Idle Thumbs really found so annoying about it. I think a lot of it was just they liked the first one way more than I did,
and
so they were kind of annoyed with its storytelling conventions.
And they have ties directly to the studio.
Well, Chris Remo does specifically.
Yeah.
Which maybe is a little weird considering he was like one of the most annoyed with it. But are you saying maybe that he cops to that in the episode following that one where he's like, hey, that might have impacted my opinion more than some of the other guys, so I'll concede that is the...
I know what I wanted to talk about, but I don't know if this is the right venue to until I think it through a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who was saying it in the live chat last week, but somebody was saying how Elizabeth is basically the antithesis to every like feminism argument in video games. I don't understand how.
Okay, I guess if we're gonna use like Sarkeesian's kind of descriptions, you remember she called Zelda in Wind Waker the helpful damsel?
Right.
Elizabeth's like a really helpful damsel. But,
okay.
Yeah, like I don't know. I was like, okay, she's...
But like, is she? Because in another reality, she's a dictator.
I mean, I guess if we want to be like, well, Elizabeth A is a really helpful damsel. Elizabeth B is a really great villain. Elizabeth C is kind of just useless. Like Do
you remember what that dude was talking about in the chat, though? I can't remember specifically what he was even referring to.
I don't know. He was basically just speaking cryptically like, oh man, you'll see. You play the rest of Bioshock Infinite, it just blows all that argument away.
It's like, how does that blow that away? Because she doesn't do anything except for show you what's going on, and then you make the choice to basically erase everything, ever.
Yeah, you are still, like, the male protagonist with the gun. Like, you're her father, but I don't know if that helps.
Well, the thing is, like, okay, back to complete spoiler territory. If you don't kill yourself, nothing changes. So you are still in complete control of this whole universe in this like world or whatever.
Right, but then a whole gang of them teamed up and drowned you, man.
But that doesn't matter because it's you. Everything you are the linchpin for everything.
And you waited till after the credits, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, are you serious, man?
No, I didn't, because it was like 10 minutes.
Oh,
and then I just was like, I got to go to the washroom.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there's a thing after the credits. There's still some booker somewhere in some dimension. So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It ends with, that weird office place?
Yeah.
Where it's like, give us the girl.
Oh yeah, no, I heard it's him at home with Elizabeth or whatever.
It's him at home. You hear crying. You open the door, see the cradle, and so I don't know. There's still a Booker, I guess. Like they couldn't have undone it. I don't know. I don't know what that was for, but that was there.
Well, okay, so you know the baptism theme or baptism scene, I should say.
Scenes. There's a couple baptisms.
No, the main specific one that ends or begins everything or whatever. I took that as like they went to war. Mm-hmm. He came back and like when he accepted the baptism, he became Comstock because he was quote unquote reborn, new name or whatever. He got rid of all of his sins.
Yeah.
And then when he, in the reality where he refuses it, he becomes Booker, the Pinkerton who just likes to kill people because he's a war veteran.
Right.
Whatever reason they give him.
Like
so, So like, how does killing him at that point change anything? You had to kill him before, like you would have to kill his parents for him not to exist. And even then, like you'd have to kill, you can't undo anything.
Well, I guess you're killing him at the crossroads where he becomes drunk, angry man, or dictator, right? Like religious zealot, dictator guy.
You're killing him at the point where, like, before Anna should be a thing.
Right. You're not erasing Booker from ever existing.
Mm.
Right. Like, you'd have to kill baby Booker, which would be weird. But then Elizabeth wouldn't exist ever.
But then, like, the thing is, if every ending is the same, well, they said I do remember there was a line that was basically them saying every ending's the same. It all ends the same. Mm-hmm. It's just like the fact that they killed him at that point. It doesn't matter because he was still alive before, and it's going to end the same. Like it's just the way they did it is. Like I said, this is exactly what's happening. The more I'm thinking this through, the more it's unraveling, and I should just like, no, okay, we're done. We're done with this.
Okay.
We'll
let it gestate a bit more, or maybe revisit it, but okay.
Well, because you could say anything, and you're right.
I know, because it's just like, well, they've opened up all possibilities as being possible, so I don't know how or why anyone is trying to nail it down.
No. Okay, tell me right now what happened. Just say anything.
You secretly actually are the songbird?
Yeah, you're right.
To it by an experiment.
You're totally right.
It's
Aaron,
like the daddy program.
Say something about what happened at the end of Bioshock.
What the fuck?
Okay, she's right too.
Like that. The work time fun is actually also part of it.
Work time fun is part of it. Super Mario 3, where you take Bowser out, that happened.
And Doki Doki Panic, they're both liable.
Yeah,
I love this super digressive path we've gone down, but we need to put a pin in this whole thing, or what? Like I don't know. We keep riffing all day. Evil Dead also.
Let's go.
I just saw Oblivion also takes place in this universe.
Sure. Okay.
It also weirdly takes place in the same universe as Duncan Jones' Moon, and they stole like half of their ideas from that movie.
Okay, the good ideas? Like, is it good?
It's kind of the big idea from Moon is the whole plot backbone of Oblivion, and that's fine because they kind of do their own direction with it. But I was definitely I felt like I was probably one of the few people in that theater who was having that kind of ruin their experience. But even then, it's okay. Like, it's nothing fantastic. Like, specifically my issues with it is, like, it just dumps a ton of exposition on you for the first, 5 minutes of the movie. It's just, Tom Cruise voiceover explaining, everything that's led to this this existence that you're seeing now. And then you're just kind of okay, fine. And then later they're expecting you to kind of care about some twists with that dynamic. It's some of those things may not be true. And you're just well, okay, I was kind of just taking his word for it anyway. I didn't see it come together.
Right.
So, I'm not as invested as you think I am because you only told me this. So why would I trust your protagonist? I don't know. Maybe he has no idea what's going on. I don't know him yet. So, yeah, in that way, the story kind of wasn't reaching me in some stuff. It looks okay visually. M83 did the music, and they're a group I'm okay with. They do some okay stuff.
Okay.
There's some action scenes that just seem I kind of wish this wasn't here. The pacing of it seems to be kind of this wants to be a thoughtful kind of sci-fi thing that should probably just end right now, but instead there's this battle with these robot drones. And I don't think this really needs to be here, but they need some action scenes or something. Like there's some moments that definitely stand out as being like, I don't care for what's happening on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Moon derivative like crazy. But if you haven't seen Moon and you like Tom Cruise more than Sam Rockwell, I don't know. Like there's reasons someone could go see this and have a decent time.
Okay.
But it kind of, like it's the director of Tron Legacy, Joseph Kosinski,
mm-hmm.
and I'm still not convinced he knows what he's doing. Like that movie has a bunch of kind of bad exposition at the beginning of it, but I felt that kind of made sense because it was trying to explain a movie that a lot of people probably didn't see.
Right.
That's its backstory, whereas this is just like, no, this is an original work, more or less. Like it's based off of a graphic novel he wrote or something like that. I think was basically just him doing storyboards for this movie, based just on reading the credits or whatever. But even so, like it's not as that great at laying out its story for you. And it totally, like, not only Moon, it's just like, hey, let's pull some, hey, 2001 in there. Let's pull a bit of, I'm trying to think, like, maybe a bit of Stargate or something, like, just little things here and there. And if you've seen a lot of sci-fi, you're going to see all the DNA of this one. But if you haven't, like, there's some okay notions in here. I don't know. It was not fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe don't see it.
I'm probably not going. I
wasn't playing anyway, kind of thing. Or?
I don't know. The thing is, like, everybody always gives Tom Cruise shit.
Yeah, it's not him. It's not really him.
I'm just saying, like, people give him shit because he's batshit insane.
Yeah.
And a Scientologist and outspoken and has money.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know if you know, he picks some good movies to do.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, he picks some decent roles. So
yeah.
I didn't know. It's hard to, like, I can't just be like, oh, Tom Cruise is in that. It's obviously a pass, because then it'd be like, well,
oh no, like
Magnolia, Vanilla Sky, and Minority Report were good. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I know. None of this is like Tom Cruise's fault. Like he does okay. Like, I guess it's more just like some parts of the movie kind of bank real hard on his charisma as a guy to kind of carry a whole scene. And it's like, well, he's okay, but he's not one of my like favorite performers or whatever. But
Morgan Freeman is, because everybody on the internet is obsessed with him.
Not anymore, dude. I don't know if you saw that AMA.
I didn't.
He lost a lot of fans that day.
What did he do?
It was amazing. It was like there was an AMA that was basically promoting Oblivion. It was like Oblivion movie was the name of the thing. But it was ostensibly like a scheduled official like mods approved thing. But all the questions were like that he chose to answer were answered in kind of like a really kind of like, for example, it would just be like, hey, which role was your favorite? Whichever one pays the most money. Like answers like that.
Wow.
And then a lot of people were just kind of like,
why wouldn't he say Oblivion?
Yeah, or something. Or a couple of them were kind of pretty promotional in nature for Oblivion and stuff. Like, there just wasn't a lot of like, thoughtful, soul-searching answers or anything, or like really lighthearted, like affable answers. It was more just like kind of blandly presented facts, and then people trying to be excited about it but kind of bummed out. And then at some point, the theory was floated, this either isn't him and it is like some PR representative who's doing a really bad job, or Morgan Freeman's like really boring person.
He probably is.
We just kind of inflated like his whole thing because of the roles he's chosen and stuff. And then it kind of came this discussion and self-discovery for a lot of people of just like, actors can play smart characters and not be smart.
Well, I'm just trying to think what roles really are just like, oh my god, like Morgan Freeman. This role, holy shit, like God as Evan in Evan Almighty.
He gets mentioned a lot. Shawshank Redemption, obviously people love.
Okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and say the guy you're rooting for is Tim Robbins.
Yeah, he's the main guy.
He's the guy that's smart because he's the guy that gets out.
Andy Dufresne, yeah. Whereas Red is just kind of his narration though. People love his voice. He has like a smart voice, I guess.
Okay, I guess.
voice that people really like. But yeah,
the
no.
boss in Lucky Number 11, which was weird seeing him as like a mob boss.
Yeah, or hearing him say, like, just curse it up and wanted was weird. Shoot this motherfucker. And you're just like, what are you doing? You can't deliver a line like that at all. Stop it, old man.
You're Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. You're everybody's grandpa, man. What? It was, doesn't make sense.
He was pretty good in Unforgiven, I guess.
I keep forgetting about that movie. Like, I'll like go through like, wait, what won Best Picture in '92? And I just won't know what it is until eventually someone reminds me about Unforgiven. But now, because it's happened often enough, I remember that it won Best Picture. But
what was it up against?
I'm trying to think.
Come on, you got it.
I think that was the year Beauty and the Beast was nominated, which was kind of weird.
Okay.
You know, like maybe The Crying Game, which I've never seen.
I haven't seen that either. Is
that
bad? People talk
No,
about
I don't.
it.
It's famous for like a twist that everyone knows because they saw Ace Ventura. Right. So it kind of doesn't matter.
And Ace Ventura did it better.
Maybe. I don't know. Jim Carrey was an entertaining guy.
Why not?
I can't remember the other two films that would have been nominated at the time. Sorry.
That's still a good movie. So, I mean, for that Unforgiven to win.
Oh no, yeah, I only saw it once. I just don't remember it. Like, I just don't think about it much. Gene Hackman was in it, so.
Hackman.
Gene Hackman. I hate it when actors retire like well before they really needed to. But you know, I guess that's their prerogative. They want to go golfing or something. But at the same time,
Superman Returns.
Superman Returns.
No wait, just Superman. Superman Returns was Spacey.
Oh, you're talking about Gene Hackman being in it. Yeah,
because I got on the train of I was thinking Luther.
Yeah, okay.
And then I was just like, no, that one specifically was different.
How do you feel about the new Superman coming out? Like, do you care?
See, the thing is, I don't know anymore.
Okay.
Because I was excited to see what they would do, and then the trailer for it was kind of cool because it was just like, oh, this is going to be like the trials and tribulations of basically a god or something, and then it ended with him breaking the sound barrier.
Yeah, I did kind of like that, yeah.
And now it's like seeing other stuff, it's like, oh, it's a Superman movie.
Yeah, I felt those first trailers were like weirdly arrogant. Like they just kind of assumed people were more excited about the mere fact that Superman exists.
Like the Red Band trailer type thing, where it's just like, no, you care.
Yeah, it's just like, well, no, I might not. A lot of people don't. Like Batman's kind of the DC guy right now. I don't know if you know. Like I've heard a lot of idols like just talk of like, you know what, Superman's kind of lame. Like just kind of floated as like a character because he doesn't have any interesting dilemmas because he's basically invincible.
Right.
So the one or two times where it's like, oh dude, but he died or he almost died or like kryptonite.
Right. He's not interesting until he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
and
like,
then it's not.
Someone actually felled this dude.
That's the thing, because when Superman dies, it's not. He's still not the interesting character. It's the dude that was able to kill a god. Right.
So, like, Lex Luthor is kind of a great character. He's so much more
or
charismatic.
Doomsday, just this weird monster that, like, ripped him in half, basically.
Mm-hmm. Like, just super villains that need to really step up to the plate to take on Superman. But then when they do, you're almost like, wow, that guy's kind of got some stuff going on. That's cool. Right. Superman's just getting lazy. You know, he's just like, I'm super powerful. I don't know. I'm just going to chill out.
Super powerful.
Got this red, yellow sun. It's giving me all these powers.
Speaking of which... Do you remember Green Lantern? Let's keep going on the DC train here.
Yeah.
And how they kind of blew their load right away. Like, you've obviously seen that movie.
Yeah, promoting that movie or like early in the movie? Like,
no, just the fact that like, it's movie number...
DC blew its load, you mean?
Well, it's movie number 1 for Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And they put him up against like one of Green Lantern's biggest enemies right away.
Yeah.
Just like the thing that is destroying Green Lanterns everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they put him up against it. So like after that, it's like, now we're going to do the Sinestro Wars? Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like part of it was supposed to be Peter Sarsgaard, giant head guy, who's kind of not a A-tier villain, right?
Yeah.
Like he's kind of part of like the face of the villainy going on. And, Sinestro would have been the big matchup, right?
Well, the thing is, even in that, when they're training, Sinestro's the coolest part because he's just like controlling those swords with his mind or whatever, basically.
Yeah, and I do like Mark Strong. But,
yeah.
And that movie was just so train wrecky all over the place, though. Like,
it really was.
No way they're gonna make more. Like, they aren't, right? Because like they keep talking like Justice movie's gonna be a thing, and like they're trying to do stuff. It's just like, are you really? Like, I mean, I can get why DC would be sitting over there getting more and more green with envy at like how well the Marvel money machine is running right now. But I don't think they have like Nolan made Batman work out, but that's not going to necessarily immediately translate to success on all fronts with all their characters. I've been a nerdy gentleman for a while. DC characters, that lineup, like Injustice just came out. People are trying to tell me like that should be a thing I should play. I just don't care about 90% of the people in it.
Oh no, see, okay, if we're going to talk games again and go to Injustice,
yeah,
I want to play it mainly because I do like the DC guys, but mainly because I was so impressed with how Mortal Kombat took some weird story in a convoluted manner and threw a story mode in there in the 2009 release they did.
Yeah. Okay.
I need to see how all these guys in the DC universe somehow just like intermingle in this story mode they create.
I guess they took a lot of really convoluted, stupid lore in Mortal Kombat and actually made it kind of fun to watch.
Which was amazing. Like, the one thing I actually like about fighting games is to see how they do career modes, because it's kind of amazing. I mean, Tekken.
Right. Like, Tekken basically bookends it with nutty cutscenes, and that's all you need. But they're pretty nutty.
He throws him in a fucking volcano.
Yeah, sure does.
So, like, I don't know.
Happen multiple times?
No, I don't think so. He sacrifices him, then you get Devil Jin or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a weird, like, Dead or Alive, DOA. They have some weird shit going on in there. I love how fighting games somehow throw a story in because they realize they're a video game. So they're not like, no, we have to make this all work and like different realities. Like, we won't get specific because no more things, but like, they don't try to make something kind of work or like be interesting. They're just like, no, it's a video game and ththese characters are stupid, so we're gonna throw them in weird situations.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, like if they can untangle that mess and make it make sense, that'd be kind of neat. But I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure what they're basing their storyline on for Injustice.
And there was that, what the hell was it called? Justice League Fighting Force or something?
Okay.
On the Super Nintendo?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay, so, Injustice.
Yeah.
It's been done before, where there was a fighting game, Justice League Task Force. There's a game on the Mega Drive, or the Genesis, whatever you want to call it, and the SNES, and it was just basically Mortal Kombat with DC characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wiki page now.
So it's been done. That's all I'm going to say about that. Like, if you want to go back to your roots, you look up Justice League Task Force and play that because it's obviously probably better than Injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Acclaim already did it, so.
Darkseid's in there. He's an end boss.
Oh, what?
I know, go figure, right? Oh, wait, no, actually, I think Apocalypse might be.
Not necessarily spoilers. Who knows?
Or wait, is Apocalypse a stage? Because Apocalypse is big, I don't know if you know.
I kind of don't.
Okay. Apocalypse is a planet.
Okay. They're fighting in front of Daily Planet. That's a thing I know.
Yes. Superman can use his breath in that game and his laser eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Game of the Year 1995, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
1995.
I was 9 years old. There you go. History lesson there. So don't bother with this Injustice bullshit. You go out and buy yourself a sealed copy of Justice League Task Force for like $700 probably, because it's a collector's item or something. Or you know what?
It?
Emulators.
Is it actually rare?
I have no idea. I mean, have you heard of it before?
I have not, but
I only rented it back then. I didn't know anybody that owned it. It might be rare. It might also be everywhere. I don't know.
Weirdly, the first listing is $700, but it's the Mega Drive Japanese import cartridge.
Okay. That I don't know if that counts if you're going imports.
Right.
So
oh, yeah. That is a weird pull on that. The Sega Genesis game with case and manual, like new, is $10.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
okay.
So it depends what you're looking for, but you could spend a lot of money if you really want to.
Or you could get it for free.
Or you could get it for free. Right, because internet. Yeah.
Now that I derailed that train.
Yeah, I don't know how to... Speaking of superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds played
Yes.
Green Lantern.
Yes, he did.
Yep. But that dude totally sucks. Ryan Gosling is another guy.
Wait, okay. Wait, no, we have to go back for a sec. You said he totally sucks.
Oh, sorry.
No,
that's
no.
Generalization.
No.
He has sucked, but sometimes
don't apologize. No,
okay.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
Do you actually believe that?
I felt really bummed out that I had to go see Buried as an assignment for a thing one time.
Sure. Okay, I don't like Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
So I'm okay with it. That's what I'm getting at. And every time I say that, I usually get like tomatoes thrown at me. People boo.
Oh,
Children are crying in the streets. Puppies are pissing on my leg.
Yeah, okay, I don't really have, like, much malice towards Ryan Reynolds, but, like, put his name on the poster, I'm not like, oh, dude, I gotta see that. I want to see this, like, really accomplished, actor do some stuff. It's like, no, whatever.
Name one thing off the top of your head that he's done that you're just like, he was really good in that. I know, right?
Well, okay, like, I don't care much about Deadpool, so he didn't bother me as Deadpool, but...
Okay, but he wasn't even in that a lot.
He wasn't in that a lot, that's true.
So I don't...
Yeah, he's like a supporting player in a bunch of stuff.
Like not even a supporting player in that specifically if you're going to talk Deadpool, because he was in it for 5 minutes and then 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't really... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't see The Proposal, so maybe I'm missing out on some comic gold right there.
People always go to Van Wilder. I don't like that movie, so...
Yeah, I didn't see it. I heard there was a Bulldog's balls were prominently featured. That was kind of just a joke in that movie.
Right.
It was like, hey, this dog has balls. And you're just like, yeah, that they also do.
Yeah. I'm looking up what else he's done. Fuck, like, I don't care about any of this shit. Just Friends. There you go.
I think why would I have ever seen that?
I've seen it.
I think I did.
Yeah.
What? Weird.
Everybody.
Oh yeah, he's in Adventureland. I forgot about that. I like that movie, but he's not the reason.
No,
so.
He just plays a douchebag.
Yeah.
He's the reason why you would maybe not like that movie.
It doesn't help, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna stand by it. Ron Reynolds isn't great. He's not very good.
Dude, fuck that guy.
I've had a mixed feelings over Mr. Gosling for a while, just because I've been kind of really annoyed with some movies he's done, specifically Lars and the Real Girl. I thought was just terrible.
Never saw it.
I just it's like one of the few movies where I just stopped watching it after 40 minutes, revisited it, watched 30 more minutes, stopped, finished it. Like, I just had a hard time staying into that movie, but I felt I had to watch it because some critics liked it. Okay. I do this to myself sometimes.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah. Just the way it treated depression and stuff just felt really weird, and I don't know. I didn't love Drive as much as a lot of people love Drive, but I revisited it a while ago for Hotline Miami stuff, and I don't know, it's okay.
He's not the reason why you would like Drive, though.
Yeah, no, it's the style and like...
He is the Legend of Zelda Link to that movie. He is he has a face. I almost said faceless, like, protagonist, but he's the voiceless protagonist. Yeah, he doesn't talk a lot. Yeah, it's weird. In that and the movie I'm trying to build up to talking about, Place Beyond the Pines, he plays kind of withdrawn, quiet, but, like, cool characters, I guess you could say. Like, in this one, he's like a stuntman. He rides a dirt bike really well, in basically a traveling circus or something, but then realizes, oh, dude, I have a kid from this, like, one-night stand a year ago. I'm going to quit being a stuntman and try to be a good, supportive dad. Problem is,
there's like she's already moved on. She has like a boyfriend she's living with. Like she's past it. He's not getting that vibe, and it's just like, no, man, I'm super cool. So I'm gonna, just kind of get in on this, and doesn't go so well. Almost immediately turns to crime as a means of supporting this whole thing, which is kind of absurd, but I was kind of fine with going with it just because of the way they do it. Like, there's just some of my favorite heist scenes in a while because it's just Ryan Gosling walking into a bank with a pistol and then just like really stressed, like genuinely stressed out sounding, robbing that bank. Like his voice will go up several octaves when he gets stressed out, which it seems more genuine to me than a dude calmly walking in there and being extremely cool. Like that's not how that would go in my mind,
Yeah.
like, or at the very least wouldn't go for a dude who's only started doing this like a month ago, so there's a couple robberies that happen in it, and it definitely feels like amateur crime, but done reasonably well, but then there's chases and stuff, whatever. Main thing of the story is it's kind of three stories, I guess, like going from that dude who's robbing banks to the cop that got involved in his case and to the sons that are now grown up. And it's like a linear movie. It just keeps going. It doesn't flash back or intercut between the stories or anything. It just keeps going forward. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Some people have been complaining about it being kind of long. But I don't know. I just kind of generally got invested in this story. I thought it was a neat way to kind of look at crime and kind of that, the stories of the parents then kind of setting the tone for their kids and stuff like that. Like, it just had a lot of stuff to kind of appreciate over the course of it. I'm not sure I'll necessarily watch it again, but maybe. I kind of liked most of it. But I was kind of the only person in the group of three I went with that liked it, so other people don't, apparently. I'm trying to think what they're like. Too slow. They didn't care about the characters. Bradley Cooper, like, I guess it kind of depends whether you like him as an actor or not. I don't love him, but he's okay. Like, he carried his part of the movie fine, I guess. Like,
he's a supporting actor, I take it.
Well, he's one of the three stories. Like, so Ryan Gosling is the first chapter of the movie. Then Bradley Cooper is the second, and if you've seen Chronicle, like that superhero found footage film.
Oh, Chronicle, yeah.
Yeah. The villain kid from that, who I guess I should probably look up his name because he's also going to be Harry Osborn in Spider-Man. He plays the son of Ryan Gosling's character in the first segment, who's a baby in that segment. It's basically a crime story that takes place over like 15 years. And just kind of, I guess maybe that's one of the points where it seemed a little weird because like 15 years go by and almost nothing changes, like for the sake of drama. Like, so it's like, wow, like no one has aged and also nothing has moved and this guy's kind of crappy business is still open somehow. Like, it kind of stretched plausibility a bit for the sake of having that 3-act structure, but I kind of gave it a pass at that point. It's the director of Blue Valentine, and I liked it more than that movie.
Yeah, like, I'm just trying to think Ryan Gosling in general now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so he was Sean Hanlon in Breaker High.
We actually watched the clip of Breaker High when we got home.
So that was my introduction to him, and that's all I see every time I see his stupid face.
Yeah, that's basically what Brittany said too. Like, she's like, I can't really, I just couldn't take him seriously as a cool stuntman because I've seen that, and she's like, oh, okay.
Him do his shitty horse laugh as that character and shit, like, it's just fucking annoying.
Yeah,
and like, he was in The Believer.
There's totally an episode of Breaker High called "To Kill a Mockingnerd."
Amazing.
Yes, that's so good.
He was in The Believer.
Believer, that's like super Nazi guy, right?
That's he's a Jew who
but he's like Nazi also.
Who is a Nazi? Yeah,
I haven't seen that, but that got him some buzz.
I heard that Notebook is pretty good.
People say that. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
Not a big fan of that genre, so
I heard Half Nelson is good too.
I've also people whenever, like, post Drive, when I was kind of ragging on Gosling a bit. Not only because of Drive, but also because Ides of March is a terrible movie. It's not good. It's not a good movie. people were like, well, have you seen Half Nelson? And I was like, no, I haven't. Well, there you go. Ryan Gosling's a genius.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean by that? There you go. Like, what?
It seemed a little, yeah, it's just like, okay, well, I'm not saying Ryan Gosling could never be a great actor. I'm just saying I've never seen him in a movie where I was impressed by him, because I also saw Fracture. That is a terrible movie, and I am one of that 25% of people that think Lars and the Real Girl is one of the worst ideas ever. So,
Okay.
Difference of his opinions. I'm just looking at my rating of Lars and the Real Girl. 2008 me, or whenever I saw that, gave it a 2 out of 10. So that just goes to show you, I did not like that movie.
There you go. Like, in Blue Valentine, he was okay.
Yeah, that movie just kind of struck me as, like, weirdly, I just didn't get the point. Like, it was like, yeah, relationships can work, and sometimes they don't.
But, like,
okay.
just his acting and stuff, it was okay.
Oh, yeah, no. Totally believable, like, both of them. Him and Michelle Williams were totally fine. It was just, like, that movie, I just didn't really get into any of the story. Like, I guess maybe I had the same problem with that movie that some people are having with Place Beyond the Pines. Like, my friend Ryan and Brittany were kind of just like, I don't really care about these characters. I didn't really care about the Blue Valentine characters. I did kind of like most of the cast in this one. So, yeah. Our opinions.
Sean Hanlon.
Sean Hanlon. What?
Breaker High.
Breaker High. Tyler Levine's in that show.
He is.
I was really happy to see. I was like, oh, what? This guy was in Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yep.
And speaking of Tucker and Dale versus Evil, the director of that directed Zombieland, the pilot.
Okay.
Just hit the internet. It's part of this weird initiative Amazon is doing for their kind of original programming.
Mm-hmm.
Like Netflix has been kind of putting out a series here and there so far. Lilyhammer, House of Cards, Hemlock something, Grove. It's not getting good reviews. I'm probably not going to watch that one. But anyway, Amazon did this differently by just kind of debuting a bunch of pilots, and then they're kind of letting audience interests dictate which ones go to series. Zombieland was one of them, and I don't know. I decided to watch it because I didn't hate that movie. It was okay.
I liked it. You had a bad experience in the theater without.
Okay, I did have a bad theater experience, but despite that, I still generally had a good time. Watching it again though, like it's a little thin. It's like an 88-minute movie. Like there's not a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it works. Like the cast is pretty great, and that's probably just the kind of the main issue I have with this pilot is like I couldn't help look at it as just being like, why did you construct it this way? You set yourselves up for failure. They recast the exact.
I know. I'm looking at it right now. So Kirk Ward is now Tallahassee. Yeah. So all that magic you had is now gone.
Yeah, it's
Tyler Ross. Who the fuck is this as Columbus?
Yeah.
Wise Kids? What the fuck is the Wise Kids?
I don't know. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna click on. I actually didn't really look into who these people were. I was just like, you're not Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson and Emma Stone and Abigail Breslin. What's going on? So yeah, Tyler Ross. Who is this?
Yeah, I know. Like this Mayara Walsh, like Mean Girls 2. You know, that hit that everybody saw straight to DVD movie.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, But they could have avoided this problem by just being like, here is a group of 4 other survivors somewhere else in this zombie world.
Oh, across I was going to say across the world, across the country.
Yeah, it is the easiest thing to tweak to just kind of do that. But not only that, it's not only the characters have the same exact names, they actually treat Zombieland the movie as canon. So there's a point in this episode where they're kind of like they talk about, you know how like Emma Stone and Jesse Eisenberg were pretty much about to hook up in that movie?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. They feel the need to acknowledge that was the case and that they then broke up. So now they're still, like there's a line where Columbus is like, well, we broke up, but I'm kind of hoping to get that going again. And you're just like, why didn't you just pretend that movie didn't happen? Like,
did they make reference to stuff that happened in the movie? Where like Kirk Ward is like, boy, I'm sure glad I got that Twinkie. Or is like, you remember that Ferris wheel that one time?
It's only 28 minutes so far of this show existing. I'm not sure if it'll go to series or not. But there is a Twinkie reference, but it happens before the attack happened. You essentially see Tallahassee at his old job before everything went down.
And he's eating a Twinkie because he loves them.
I don't know if he actually eats the Twinkie. Someone else is eating the Twinkie, and he remarks that he really likes them. And he gets trash talked by that guy, but then that guy gets eaten by a zombie like a minute later.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's like I also started watching Alpha House, I think it's called.
Okay.
It's with John Goodman, which I guess is the big show they're kind of pimping because John Goodman is a fairly noteworthy guy. That one is written by Gary Trudeau, who is the Doonesbury guy.
Yep.
So, get your political satire over here. Mm-hmm. I guess my kind of thing with that is just, Alpha House is the name of it.
Yep.
I tried, when I was a kid, Doonesbury was always that boring comic that made no sense. Because I was a little...
Dude, it still is.
Okay. I was about to... Yeah, I kind of came to that conclusion because I was like, well, you know what? I'm an adult now. I like some Aaron Sorkin. I get some political banter here and there. Whatever. Let's try this out. So I got a collection of it from the library. And it struck me as just like, this immediately ages because it's like so directly riffing off of stuff that just happened. So it's just like, man, can't believe they voted that way on Bill 217. Yeah, I'm all right, or something. And you're just like, what are you talking about? Like,
and then you go on the internet, find Bill 217, and it's like,
that happened in 1992.
Right, or I have to find the year because new Bill 217 has an amendment now where it's actually a really good thing.
Yeah. So they actually turn around, or like whatever. Like, it's so dependent on you being pretty up to speed on what's currently going on in like the political sphere. So it's just like, I have no idea what you guys are doing down there in the States. Like, I just don't really know. Like, House of Cards is kind of in this weird alternate thing where it's like, this is just generally how fucked up politics is.
Well, so it's like corporate espionage with politics.
Yeah, but with politics. Like, this is happening on Capitol Hill. But it's not, from what I've seen of Alpha House, I was about to finish it before we started recording, but whatever. It's like a 24-minute thing. It's definitely a little looser because I guess you can't be as timely with your references as you can in a weekly newspaper comic. So it's just, again, it's kind of just generally about politicians being kind of lazy and whatnot. Seemed okay, I guess. Like, it's really, like, some people were like complaining about it because it's immediately divisive because all of the characters are Republicans and it's just kind of making fun of Republicans. So, there you go. Democrats making fun of Republicans.
Go figure. That never happens.
It happens all the time. But, I see. You're being facetious. I got it. Sorry.
I think sarcastic would be the word I would use, but yes.
Okay. Yes. I don't know. I will finish this episode at least. I know this doesn't matter to you at all. Bill Murray was in it for like 2 minutes.
Woo! Okay, so Alpha House.
Alpha House.
What about Alpha Dog?
I actually watched Alpha Dog because I heard Vincent Kartheiser was in it, and he's in it for like a minute and a half or something, but whatever.
Yeah. You know who else is in it?
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, and Emil Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch, star of Into the Wilds.
Now, if I remember, you have a problem with him.
Emil Hirsch?
Yeah, you don't like him, right?
I didn't like Into the Wild. Milk was okay. He has a supporting role in that.
Right. But I mean, Speed Racer was the most important visual experience of our lifetime.
Pretty amazing visual experience.
It is actually pretty good.
Yeah, like, I wish I'd seen that in just a crisp AVX screen or something. Like, that would have been the way to do it, but well. It's still quite a thing.
Bruce Willis is in it. Alpha Dog, sorry.
Oh, an Alpha Dog. I was like, wait, was he a racer? Like, was there a cameo? But, okay. Yes.
What did you think of it?
What did I think of Alpha Dog?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was mostly indifferent toward it. It's a little weird that they go into straight up documentary footage at the end.
Yeah.
It's just like, this happened, and also we talked to them about it, and yeah, like, a kid died. And you're just like, what? That sucks. Like, okay. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like maybe vaguely exploitive, like, of kind of a sad true crime story or something, but I don't know.
Ben Foster.
Ben Foster is also... Why? Did you just watch it this week?
No.
Okay.
I haven't seen it since, like, basically it came out.
Okay.
So...
Well, if you want to backtrack briefly to Speed Racer...
Yes, I do.
Okay. That was directed by the Wachowskis.
Yes.
Who did Cloud Atlas.
Okay.
Finished reading that book. It's good.
Okay.
There you go. Book report, weekly book report. I guess I also read The Sense of an Ending. Basically, I'm just going on a big idle book club binge right now, reading a bunch of books. So I'm not going to bore people with that. I've been writing about them in my journal, though. Got my little thoughts on there.
Do you have a dream journal?
I have recordings on my iPhone. So yes, sort of. Like I recall
Excellent.
my dreams. I had one. Whatever. I know talking about dreams is really boring, but I'm hoping this is sort of amusing. So you know that bunker in that basically that base in the thing, like up in the North Pole.
I know it very well. Yes.
Right. Imagine that was a used game store. What? Why would it be there? I don't know. I just was like in that store buying stuff. Like my subconscious will just like mix things that don't belong, and it kind of works out sometimes in a way that amuses me. I find myself in weird video game stores very often in my dreams. I don't know why, but there you go.
What's the scariest dream you've ever had?
A
nightmare, if you will.
Well, I talked about my nightmare lamp, but
I know that was. I mean, I don't know. I didn't recover fully from that, so.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty intense stuff. It's mostly like sleep paralysis sensations, or like there was once where I couldn't tell if there was just water running from upstairs or if I was actually in some place where water was coming in, like because I was in this weird kind of half awake, half not state, and I got really creeped out.
Weird.
But then combine that with sleep paralysis where you feel like you can't move. And you have kind of those great kind of...
Well, you got waterboarded.
Or something. I don't know. Like it's such a vague recollection of like water, not being able to move, and it feeling way more real than it should kind of thing. So that's just one that happened in the last few years. A lot of sleep paralysis, though. Have you had sleep paralysis?
No.
Okay.
You know that feeling where you fall and hit the bed?
Yeah.
I hate that. I really hate that.
Okay.
Ugh.
I haven't had that as often. It's mostly me knowing I should be awake and trying to pry my eyes open, essentially. It's weird. But yeah. I don't know. It's been going on for a while. I've been talking a lot. What's been going on in your week?
I moved.
How was that?
It sucked. It was shitty.
Is that because I couldn't be there because I was watching cartoons?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
So sorry, Paul. I had to go watch old crappy cartoons.
So you ruined my life again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. It's done.
Okay.
No, it just sucked because there was a lot of stuff. 2 dump runs.
Okay.
With a cargo van. A broken couch.
Yeah, it's gonna happen with me.
A really bad mattress.
That may happen here too.
I'm just trying to think what else we dumped. A broken to the point where you couldn't fix it. Like dresser drawer thing.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean, like a
futon mattress that was just gross?
Okay.
Just a broken futon frame for that mattress. Like the metal bars were completely like broken off. You'd have to like weld them back on and stuff. It was just gone.
Okay.
And broken bed frame.
So that's a lot of stuff.
And then one thrift store run.
Okay.
Where I got rid of my old computer desk, which was still totally fine. A bunch of kitchen stuff I don't need anymore. A thing of blankets or towels or something. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like with the kitchen stuff, some dishes because I don't need them anymore and they were old. Like they were getting gross kind of. So cleaned those and gave those away. And I think... No, not a bookshelf. Just some other random small stuff, but that went to Goodwill, stuff that could actually be used. And then the rest went to either where I'm living now, the stuff I use immediately, or into storage at my parents' house, like my DVDs, because they are all in a box.
Okay.
That's how little I use DVDs these days.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing just a full-blown media culling. Like, just choose which discs are actually worth keeping.
No, I'm thinking I still want to rip them all to an external hard drive and have like a media library.
Okay.
But that is so much work.
I
don't know. I think that's too much work when you get over 30 DVDs. Like anything over that, it just exponentially adds to your workload.
Yeah.
So like 3 bookshelves worth. No, they're in a box.
I have a lot of bookshelves worth of media, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like I have my video games over here, and I kind of don't know why, because I'm not going to play a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a shelf of games that I'm trying to get rid of, too. But
Naruto.
That's not on that shelf. You don't have that yet?
I actually do want to play that.
Okay. I should... I'll bring that... I'll put that in the stack with Battle Royale.
I don't know if I like necessarily even want to keep it for a long time. It's probably going to end up at a pawn shop eventually.
Yeah,
but I didn't want to just.
It was on its way there through me anyway, so you might as well play it first.
Right.
But okay.
You might as well be the one to make the trip down and do it.
Yeah, if you want. I mean, you volunteered, right? So.
Yeah, there you go. And you have a typewriter.
I do have your typewriter. Thank you.
So that's just another thing for you to carry.
I've been thinking more about using it, so that could happen.
They're cool. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like
feels
them.
old timey. It's like it's the 80s.
Yeah, and you can fill out forms with them because you just put it in. Yeah, so I don't know. It's good old stuff that you move around. I guess we did the meetup with a bunch of indie guys here.
Yeah.
That was okay.
Free indie cow jam. But it wasn't actually jam, we just jammed.
I'm going to go ahead and say, it was great seeing people and talking with them and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like the venue choice. I thought it was way too loud and spread out, where it's just at this end of the table, there's this guy you're not going to talk to because you're at the other end, and other people are going to talk to him, which is fine, but then you're not hearing what they're saying, and you'll get bits and pieces here and there. Oh, yeah. It's a bar downtown.
Right. I guess a more conversation friendly place.
Somebody's living room while somebody else plays a game or something. I don't know. Something where you're not charged a lot of money for beer. You could just bring a case with you or something.
Oh, okay. A more informal hangout. Not that it was formal, but
Yeah.
Less. I guess
less formal.
Less formal even. Play some Cards Against Humanity after.
That game. I don't know.
Oh, you've seen all the jokes?
Kind of. In the first weekend, we had it.
Yeah, every time I've played it, we go through all of the cards, and then it's well, okay. I've seen all of these then, again.
The thing is, I'm at a point where I don't even care about expansions even, because it's okay, it's a few more jokes. But it's a few more jokes, so ha 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 ha. But we're still going to go through 2 hours of the same stuff anyway, after those jokes are done. So
you should almost be burning the cards as the jokes become unfunny.
Kind of.
This is the game.
Yeah, they should just give you an expansion with fully blank cards and force people to fill them out.
Dig into their own creativity and see what happens.
But then, the thing is, people aren't inherently funny.
No.
So, some things that somebody would find hilarious and maybe, 2 other people will, the other 4 are just that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
StarCraft.
Sure.
It's just, what's funny about that? I don't know.
Wait, what? Are you referring to something I'm not 100% sure?
I've never seen the "we require more pylons" or whatever joke play, but I guess it does sometime. But it's still a mystery to me. I've never been in that group where that is the joke that everyone loses it over.
Well, I mean, we kind of made that joke with one of our podcasts where we were talking about Korean slave camps.
Right. And North Korea is just not in the news anymore. Do we need, do you want to do a follow-up on Hey Boston, or should we just...
I was going to say that. I can't remember. Oh, when you were talking about, your dreams and stuff, and I said it's waterboarding. I was going to be speaking of waterboarding, they caught that guy.
They caught that guy, yeah.
And they killed the other one.
They shot the other... okay, actually, I think he was driven over by his own brother.
That's hilarious.
At least a theory as to what might have happened. But
okay, he dead.
He's dead, yeah.
He dead.
One of those 2 guys is dead.
And the other guy, everybody was searching for, and then they found out he was in his, home street or something. And then he was in the backyard in a boat. And they they didn't know if he had a suicide vest on, so they just kind of chilled and had him cornered for a couple hours.
Okay.
So that's kind of great.
I didn't like watch it happen really. I just kind of saw updates and whatnot over the course of that day on Twitter and Reddit. Like I didn't watch feeds or anything. Did you actually watch it as though it was an episode of Great Police Chases or something?
No, this goes back to what we were talking about, media and like news and stuff. I was keeping up with stuff randomly at work on a news site, and one of the things I clicked was literally just some dude's Twitter feed as he was updating it. So I basically read Twitter and through a news site, like through I think CTV or something weird, like a Canadian news site. So that happened. There was a weird picture, I think it was on Reddit that I saw, where CNN, they had a reporter down there, and this was when they found out that the dude was back on this specific street, and she was there covering it, and she said something along the lines of, it's creepy, nobody's around, it's like a bomb went off. It's just like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. A bomb went off, so a lot of people are hiding.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That was pretty funny to read. I laughed a little bit about that, but more importantly, okay, this is going to sound really kind of maybe insensitive. A lot of time and resources, and I mean, I don't know how in danger they were, but people's lives went into finding a dude that killed 3 guys with a bomb and scared everybody. And there's still no cure for cancer. Like, there's a lot
That's a weird comparison.
No, I'm just saying there's a lot of resources that go into, like, terrorism stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, I mean, NASA wants to go to the moon at some point. Like, I don't know. The allocation of resources is kind of weird, where it's like, terrorism attack, get everybody in the world involved. It's like, well, we want to cure cancer. This group in Colorado will probably figure out one day.
I don't know about, like, that comparison's a little weird to me, like, because it's like such radically different resources. Like, I guess you're just talking about dollars it takes to keep people safe or whatever, but like some people are also highlighting, like, over the course of a full day of crazy, like, across the city shootouts and whatever, like, there were no innocent civilians killed. Whereas in the Christopher Dorner thing a couple months ago, like, the LAPD totally shot up a bunch of people that were innocent and whatnot. So it's just like, you know what? If you're going to be a police force, at least they did it better over here. So good job to the Boston PD or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not discounting that.
But I guess it's more like, you know, people were really pointing to, like, okay, the day after that happened, or the day during, no, the day before. It was the day before there was a big vote on, like, this NRA kind of bill as to whether or not, like, they should change gun laws.
Right.
And they voted against it. Like, the Republicans basically unanimously said, no, this is totally fine. We don't need to further legislate gun related stuff. The next day, there's this big you know, like, a cop was shot at MIT and all this stuff. Like, all this stuff happened out of that. And that's kind of weird. Like, they should probably legislate looking at actual stuff that happens. Like, it's like, look at these statistics. Like, there's crazy crime going on all the time. Why don't we actually do something about that? Put some money into making programs to keep a track of people who have firearms or whatever. I don't know if the firearms were illegal in this case. Like, that seems to be the case. But actually, no, that's actually not only the thing. It's just how easy it is to obtain them at, like, gun shows.
Sure.
Like, you can just go to some show and just buy it without being registered. And, like, they just need to clamp down on that gun manufacturing industry or whatever. Yeah. And then people talking about whether this, like, some people are saying this is the biggest terrorist attack since 9/11, and then other people are raising their hands and being like, Virginia Tech, there was that one in December, like Sandy Hook, like, and it's just like, oh, no, those are shootings, that's not terrorism. And you're just like, oh, what a weird distinction. Like, are we only talking about bombs?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or airplanes? Like, I don't know.
Well, shit gets weird once you start throwing the word terrorism around.
Yeah.
My big thing, I guess, for these two guys specifically, is that they were just wackos. Like, when there's a terrorism thing going on, a group will take responsibility for their people because they want to be like, no, this was for Allah, or this was for
we struck here in the heart of America.
This was for like the IRA in Ireland or something, getting back in America because fuck
this
you
is a
guys.
political thing. Yeah.
Right. People, these terrorist groups always want to be in the spotlight somehow doing this sort of thing. The fact that nobody, like, people were saying Koreans and stuff, like, I don't know. These were just wackos. And
that's so dismissive of, like, these were just people who got pulled into some sort of extreme whatnot and decided to do something stupid. You know, like, they're still people, but, yeah.
Well, they're wackos.
Well, wackos, what does that mean? Like, that's like calling people monsters or evil. Like, that's not true. They're not. They're just people. Like, you could become one too. Just don't, you know, like, I don't know. It's a small distinction. I'm just, like, there was photos and stuff coming up on Reddit of, like, them at prom, like, the year before and stuff. And then, like, the takeaway from that was just like, yeah, guess what? People who shoot people are also people. Like, I don't know. Like, that's also a thing.
Right, but people that commit suicide or whatever, like, when people talk about them, they're like, oh, he was a great guy. It's like, no, he was probably still a piece of shit. It doesn't matter. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. But I mean, like, they weren't always, because they were, like, kids at some point, or whatever, you know? Like, they were just 10-year-olds.
How do you know they weren't molesting their dogs while killing weird things?
I don't know that, but there was, like, statements coming out from their family that didn't seem to indicate any weird long-term business.
Well, the aunt was saying, we want proof or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And that the uncle, like, her husband or whatever, said, no, they're losers.
They're losers.
Yeah,
he just said, like, they didn't adjust to being in America well, they didn't get jobs, like, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's also weird how much we know about any of this, like, that we didn't a week ago. Like, we don't know who these people are or were, or we at least didn't know anything until, like, 7 days ago.
Right.
And now we have these weird kind of fragments.
And the thing is, like, I do know quite a bit about them now from the media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I shouldn't know, because they're just, like, people that blew 3 people up and hurt a bunch of other people and scared the shit out of a lot of a city.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, well, I should probably know more about, like, government agencies or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, there's definitely been a good amount of kind of discussion over, like, how the news media handled this whole thing. Like, they were a bit behind, but then they were also kind of casting suspicion on people who didn't deserve it. There was kind of, like, the sensationalist way they approached disaster all the time. And then, like, just how last week was also just this weird glut of bad stories, because there was also the Waco explosion.
Yeah.
Like, where just, like, late Wednesday night or whatever, it's just like, oh, by the way, like, Texas town just blew up.
Yeah, there was just some bad shit going on.
Yeah, everywhere. And that one, I guess it turns out, was just, like, really grossly unsafe, like, management stuff. Like, it's just like, why are you storing thousands of tons of this stuff? Like, that's way more than it ought to be. Like, they were misreporting stuff to the Environmental Protection Agency.
Well, it's like the same thing with Chernobyl, right? It was just a bunch of, like, bad... a bunch of weird oversights and, like, bad practices, and it caught up on them eventually, sort of thing. So it's hard to blame...
Like, amateur firefighters were called in first, because it's, like, a remote area.
Okay.
So it's just... them not knowing how to handle this at all, and then getting caught up in it. Like, a bunch of, like, I think a lot of the casualties were actually people trying to put it out.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of guys with buckets of water trying to put out, like, an inferno.
Or just, just not equipped with the knowledge to appraise the situation and be like, this is more dangerous than just like, oh, some barn is on fire or whatever. Like, I don't know. I didn't look into
barn.
Yeah. There's been crazy business going on. Like, there was like a earthquake in China, was it? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just been a lot of kind of big disaster stories happening in the last little while, and the way the news is kind of, like, it's definitely highlighting just how weirdly they depend on crazy stuff going on, but also, like, they're under-equipped to even handle it if too much happens.
I'm just wondering how much of this stuff happens all the time, though. And it's just like, well, now that we hooked them with, like, this tragedy, we're going to keep them going because they're reading now about a bunch of other crazy shit. Like, how do we know that there wasn't a terrible...
like, there was totally an earthquake, like, 3 weeks ago, but it wouldn't have really hit.
A fireworks factory in downtown Shanghai or something caught fire and blew up a city block. But nobody knows because the Green Bay Packers won the series, or I don't know, sports.
Oh, like you're saying happy stories or like whatever other stories were overshadowing those.
Right, but now that it's like, well, now that people are in this mood to read this, we're going to just give them everything we got.
Right, so it gets more upvotes after a shooting.
So gross.
Yeah, that must be it. Karma hunting.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't believe in coincidences where it's just like, oh no, this week just everything bad happened.
Yeah.
I believe in people highlighting specific things for specific times.
Or because something bad happened, getting weird and doing something else bad? Or what? Like being influenced by bad things to do bad things?
No, because you can't really influence an accident like Waco.
Yeah.
And
like
stuff.
Waco, I'm not saying, but I don't know. There was some story today that like Canada had arrested a couple potential terrorists or something. This was on front page of Reddit.
Canadian terrorists? Weird.
Kinda. FLQ, man. They're back.
Oh, man. That's bringing up some old blood there.
It's like 40 years ago.
And even then, like, only Canadians, I think, were really terrified about it. So, only Eastern Canadians specifically. I don't know. Canadian terrorism has a weird, like, niche market for it or something.
Niche market.
FLQ.
Yep.
Show title right there. Niche terrorism.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we live in Canada, and I don't even know a lot of that stuff, because it wasn't happening in Alberta. There wasn't the great, like, oil field fire that somebody set because fuck consumerism or something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just don't hear about it.
Oh, terrorism.
Oh, terrorism. It's back. But people are more thoughtful about it, maybe.
It's back. Like it
terrorism is back.
Everywhere.
Took a break for a while, but here it is again.
If there's
actually no, that's not even fair, because like that's just domestic disasters. Because like what was that subway bombing in the UK?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Later, that's also referred to in some kind of like by its date most often. Here, UK subway bombing.
Yeah, like the only thing I was gonna say is, like, I'm pretty sure people on the Gaza Strip and in Israel and stuff are just like, yeah, terrorism's back, you fucking idiots. Like,
yeah,
we haven't been seeing this every day.
Almost every day, IEDs and all this shit. Like, yeah, dude. Again, like once it happens on your toe, it affects the knee more than the elbow.
We're going back to this now.
Yeah. I'll just refer to it as though everyone totally took that to heart and is part of their repertoire.
Right.
The body analogy.
The body analogy for terrorism.
Body analogy for terrorism. And basically world events in general. Like there was that tornado, that earthquake, and that happened on my left shoulder.
Yeah.
But again, kneecap.
It's kind of weird how more sensationalist now news is, because it's so closely tied to social media. So you get that social, like, group mob mentality and panic in your normal news now.
Right.
So it's just kind of a weird thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, like before, the news would say something happened probably, and then they'd be like, no further details are noted. But now it's just like Reddit saying, oh, this fucking guy right here, he's a Muslim. Let's blame him.
Yeah.
So the news is just like, reports have come in that this is actually the dude, and here's his phone number. Go get him.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, that was like this lost kid. He has nothing to do with this.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just, hey, give us your feedback. We can fill some time with that. This guy said this. Or, like, there are people reading tweets on TV. And
I know.
I don't see that because I'm the one tweeting or reading tweets on Twitter. But then I guess, these are going somewhere and people are talking about them on television. Like, it's just like, I don't know. Media is like feeding itself in this weird way.
You can't say TV properly anymore either.
TV.
Because you said it that way too. We had a discussion about that last week.
Television.
Where you're just like, they're reading tweets on TV.
Reading tweets on the TV.
You can't do it normally anymore either. Our brains are ruined. I blame social media terrorism. Social media terrorism
is the new. I don't know. I'm starting to run out of, like, what were other highlights of the week or lowlights for you? I'm just like running out of stuff.
Good old work.
feel like we've gone long. Work.
Yeah.
Okay. No bomb threats or anything this week.
Not this week. Maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
Bomb watch continues.
Bomb watch 2013.
Yeah, I will let you know if people plan to blow up Calgary for some reason. Like, do you think there would even be a reason? There's a lot of business stuff that goes on in Calgary, not a whole lot of, like, blue-collar class stuff.
Like, I don't know. Like, are there people that are, like, environmental-based terrorists? So they're just, like, fuck oil. Like, you know, like, you wake up one morning, it's just like, yo, the tar sands, like, that all blew up or something.
You know what? The fact that you had to ask right now, are there, like, environmental terrorists? No.
Yeah. No, not really.
Because we would probably know if they were terrorists, right?
I guess. I just mainly mean, like, you know, the only, like, on the world stage heat that I see Calgary getting is being kind of reckless about the environment.
Sure.
You know? Whereas, like, in other cases, we're just kind of, like, I think Calgary's getting a few more eyes on it, more and more, it seems. Like, just based on, I don't know, our mayor and world stage, and, like, our comic expo is coming up. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Like, it's like, hey, Peter Dinklage is going to be there. Stuff like that. Right. But that's, yeah, it's too small to scale stuff. Like, it's like someone's going to plan to blow up PAX or something. It's like, what? No, that's not going to happen.
There's some controversy about Bouverie here.
Bouverie?
Yeah, they do horse meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was some stuff going on about that.
Or I guess, like, the Stampede, you know, it's like a couple horses died.
The Stampede is always like that, though.
I know.
Every year. So, the Stampede has always been Calgary's, like, world stage thing, but, I mean, that's probably slowly changing. We don't have a lot of stuff that we could really be recognized for here.
Like, point to some artistic work or some sort of artist. Is Tegan and Sarah?
Like, world stage, they're nothing, but yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're gaining the, you know, getting out there.
I'm just trying to think of
Last FM, see how they're doing.
I'm just trying to think of stuff that's like, oh, Nirvana, Seattle. You know what I mean? Or Jimi Hendrix. Like, there's no, like, huge thing from Calgary, Alberta.
Bret Hitman Hart.
I guess. I mean, his brother Owen Hart got more publicity when he died.
Yeah, but that, you know, that dude's from here too.
Any publicity's good publicity?
No, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Let me just see how many listens. 68 million Scrabbles for Tegan and Sarah. So
okay.
I mean,
I don't know what that is.
That's on Last FM.
Okay.
Like, that's like registered listens from the 1 million registered users.
So for you can extrapolate that and say that everybody is probably, like, people that aren't on Last FM would probably be listening to them if they were.
Probably.
Right. So we're using that as just like a test group sort of thing where it's like, well, out of Last FM users, we found that everybody listens to them, so we can deduct that everybody in the world probably listens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Weird. I don't know where we're going with this anymore.
Yeah. They have more Scrabbles than Deadmau5, but less listeners.
How many Scrabbles do you have? Email at podcast@pixel-response.com. Facebook page is facebook.com/thepixelresponse. Twitter @pixel_response. Stitcher app, thumbs up. iTunes, review, do that sort of thing. We'll see you guys later.
Wait, you don't want more artist statistics?
No.
Okay. More Scrabbles than Drake.
Really?
Less listeners, though.
Oh,
but
weird.
Yeah.
Wait, what's a Scrabble, though? Seriously, is it just
that's a listen. Well logged into Scrabble, or you sync your iPod and it'll update.
Sure.
But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Drake is 45 million. Anyway, okay. See you guys later.